Hey guys, I'm Emily and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am doing part 3 of my Gilmore Girls reaction series. In today's episode, I will be watching Rory's 16th birthday, the Stars Hollow Party, and I will also be watching Rory and Lorelai's fight in the episode Rory's Dance, which is episode 9 of season 1. This is the fight that occurs after the Chilton dance. I hope you guys enjoy watching. Let's get started. I am currently at minute 32. Let's go. Let's go. Miss Patty arrived. So in typical me fashion, I just have a few things to say before I just want to get started. Like, before I really dig into the episode. And that's the first thing I just want to cover was this MacBook is so old. I've never seen one that looks like this. And I was born in 1997, so this is clearly not my era. Because this is 2000, so I was 3 years old. So none of these things are recognizable to me. But what I actually want to talk about just really quickly was I remember a confession a long time ago where people were like, the Stars Hollow Party looked so not fun and whatever because it was just like full of old Stars Hollow people. That's part of the thing. Rory doesn't have a lot of close friends. Her friends her age are mainly Lane. At this age it's mainly Lane, and at some point then it becomes Paris as well. But her friend circle is kind of her mum's friend circle because she's grown up in this quirky small town where everyone really just adores her and admires her, and I guess for her, while she's living in that space, it's enough. Because I just really want to address that really quickly, because not only does that really play a part into how she develops when she's not in that small town anymore, but it also kind of brings out the idea that friendship doesn't necessarily come out in the most conventional sense in this show. And I guess that's probably apparent in the fact that mother and daughter are friends, because that's not something that's very common either. Well, it's probably common, but it's not commonly explored. No, keep going. Not in media.
I know, that's what I told the guys.
It's blue and it has a handle. That is the most Lorelai thing she'd ever say.
Happy birthday to you.
Okay, I love this cake. It looks so cool. I don't know if people think it looks really bad, but to me it looks awesome. I feel like I can see Rory's features in it, and if you can't, at least it's a really pretty girl on a cake. I don't know how many they actually put 16 candles in there. I always thought they didn't, but I'm counting it now. Where'd they get such small candles? Why is the cake so big? I don't know which one. Okay, keep going, Emily. I love Rory's outfit.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rory. Happy birthday to you. Make a wish. Alright, everybody, I need your
This is the most
attention.
Lorelai moment.
This is a very serious moment.
There we go.
2 priests, a rabbi, and a duck.
Mom.
All right, I'm kidding. I would like to propose a toast to the one thing in my life that is always good, it's always sweet, and without whom I would have no reason to get up in the morning.
I feel like there's analytical
My
content
pal
in that,
Rory.
but
Cheers.
I don't even want to touch it. I just want to like savor the moment. I can't.
And in honor
I feel
of this
the
very
urge
special
to
girl, I now
protect some
invite you all
moments
to
that
help me eat
are
her
really
face.
special to me as a viewer. To the point that I don't want to deconstruct them, even if there is stuff to deconstruct.
Jeez, who the
There are
hell's ringing
moments
the bell?
which
It's a
just,
party. Get your ass in here.
I guess, touch you personally. You just don't want to play any games with it.
Asses, I guess.
Uh-oh.
Grandpa, I can't believe you're here. I'm so glad you came. Hey, no tie?
I thought I'd mix it up a little.
Awkward.
Look, Grandma, look.
But they came! I'm very proud of them. I am so like, it warms my heart to see how excited Rory is to see them both here. because Rory is genuinely sorry about what she did at the Friday night dinner or Friday night party. And I think in the early seasons you can kind of just see how, I don't know how to explain it. You can just see how pure her love is. It's not tainted by views of money or anything. It's getting to know her family and really just loving them. And I feel like that's, in some ways, I know that people perceive that as naive, and I get how it comes across in later episodes, but in these early episodes, I think it's just really important to just kind of appreciate these moments, because Lorelai doesn't have these moments with her parents very often. So it's very nice to have at least someone get to have that relationship with them, and let's just know that someone actually feels a deep relationship with them that's not laced with tension.
Why, it looks lovely.
I want you to meet everyone. Everyone, these are my grandparents.
Hello.
Lorelai?
Emily, Dad.
Okay. Gonna jump into this. Emily, Dad. There was a really good confession that came out a few days ago mentioning how Lorelai calls Emily Emily and then calls Richard Dad. And I liked what that confession said. And I kind of remember the scene, and I always thought, like, initially it was kind of a way for her to just put some distance between the problem before she figured out how to really analyze the situation. And that's because she didn't really fight with Richard last night, she fought with Emily. It just seems like a very instinctual way just for Emily to interact, and I mean for Lorelai to interact, and I don't think it's meant to be hurtful in any way, but I'm frozen in the frame, and do you see, I'm kind of scared by Emily's face. Does it hurt her, I guess, to hear the word Emily come out of her mouth instead of Mom? I don't think there's a lot to analyze in this other than the fact that Lorelai's probably just completely taken aback by the moment, and she's just trying to recover some sort of control by trying to remove the emotion just for a second. But I feel like Emily's stung by the moment. Yeah, I never noticed that. She looks so uncomfortable, but that could be associated with the whole name, but it also could just be an idea of this being in this home, being in an environment that she's never actually seen, like she's never actually been to, which we'll find out in a couple of scenes.
Lorelai, you look well.
I'm Patricia LaCosta. We just
Oh my
love
god,
your
don't
daughter and
hit
granddaughter.
on Richard Gilmore.
My God, you're a
Patty
tall
was Patty.
specimen of a man. Must be all that good air in Hartford.
Mom, Dad, can I get you a drink?
No, thank you.
Oh, no,
There's
Mom,
so
you're
much
gonna need one, and I have wine glasses that say Holiday Inn on them.
Stole on the rocks with a twist.
Right. Okay, my parents are here.
No.
Yeah, I've cursed in front of them twice, and Miss Patty already tried to hit on my dad, and I'm sure my mom's gonna call Child Protective Services.
God, when was the last time they were here?
Never.
How do you feel about this? I'm gonna pose this question to anyone who watches this. How do you feel about the fact that Richard and Emily have never been to this home? Because this would have been at least 8 years. They were still present, but you can't really tell whether it's because they felt that Lorelai kept them away, or they just didn't feel comfortable coming because it would have been like some sort of unwritten approval or like one unwritten acceptance when neither, particularly Emily, are there. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that, because I remember this, but I've
Not
never
since
really
we
thought
moved here.
about
I mean,
the
they've come down and
ramifications
visit us
or
occasionally
the
when
reasons
Rory was a
behind
baby and we
that.
lived at the inn, but they have never been here.
Wow, that's big stuff. Is Rory thrilled?
Through the roof.
Oh, that's great.
Lorelai, I just tried some of those hors d'oeuvres. They're unbelievable. Who is your caterer?
Suki?
What's a soup?
What's a Suki?
Hi. Suki St. James.
Suki's the chef at the inn, Mom.
My dear, you are very talented.
Thank you.
Well, you must cater my next party. And when my friends get wind of you, you're going to...
This is the most Emily thing ever.
Yourself. But remember, I discovered you.
Mom, Suki has a job. She's the chef at the inn.
Emily.
The inn where we work. My inn. 6 days a week, Mom. She cooks there every day. Just give her your number. We'll never get out of here.
Okay.
So, how does it look?
No, it doesn't look structurally sound.
Drink up, Dad.
I swear their reactions, Emily and Richard, are identical to the drink. Oh my god, that's so good.
Drink up, Dad.
Oh my god, oh my god, I forgot about this scene.
We're out of ice.
Luke's gonna come.
How can we be out of ice?
How did I
We had to
forget?
take
Oh
ice.
my
It was
god.
like a penguin habitat.
I'm not a
I
relationship.
don't know how it happened. I just know it's happened, and somehow we have to deal with it.
Well, I will go and get some. Oh my god! You're a
We have-
vision! Suki, we have ice!
Hallelujah.
How did you know?
Well, good rule of thumb is you can never have too much ice.
Ah, you're the best!
No, there's no reason. I'm not just stopping here because I want to stare at them together. No, in all seriousness, I don't know if this was like an official fact or something someone said on a YouTube video, but when you know how that squeal that Lorelai will make in just a second when I start the video, people say it's because the ice touches the back of her and it's freezing cold, but it's just cute. In all seriousness, these two are made for each other, and this is the most Luke thing to do. Like, I haven't talked about Luke yet, have I? I find it really not in a ship, and I'm not going to get into like the details of the why they're good together, but I love Luke's practicality, and I love how he shows his love, or at least his support for Lorelai, but in ways that make sense to him. Like, he's not going to pop out of the blue and like bring flowers without a reason. Well, he does bring flowers, but you know, but he doesn't, unless there's a reason. Whereas, like in this scene, for example, when he's just in his early stages, he brings ice, like, because he knows that's what you do. Like, he knows that's the type of thing that's going to happen, that's going to run out. But it comes, like, that timing is perfect. It's like he instinctually knows what people need, but he won't often do it, because Luke's not exactly the most accommodating guy if he doesn't like you as a person. But if you're a person he genuinely respects, he will go out of the way for you, and he'll show you that love or that support in the most practical way possible. And I think that's a really lovely, like, characteristic. I don't know. Is it pragmatic? I'm pragmatic, or I'm a realist at heart, and I feel like these are the type of moments that make me, I guess, want to idealize the idea of love. This is so turning into like a personal thing rather than analysis, but I think it's a really special thing to, I guess, have love displayed in ways that aren't like these big giant gestures which mean nothing if they don't happen, but they're about these moments which indicate there is something that needs to be explored. And yeah, I guess that's just a summary of it. I feel like the way they ground this couple, or they ground Luke as a person, and they don't make him someone who just pops up with big gestures, shows how much they kind of shows a type of love which I guess isn't normally explored. And I think in the context of the show, I guess it probably indicates who Lorelai should be with, but I don't really want to get into that yet. I think it's just too early in the show to do that. Emily catching them, that would be very
Mom,
awkward.
This is my friend, Luke.
My friend.
Fine, thank you.
Well, I'd better get these in the freezer.
Not very likely in here.
Yeah, the room dropped 10 degrees. Whew. 10 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius? I don't know. I'm Australian. I don't know how Fahrenheit means.
Rory!
I love how Rory tries to accommodate in the way she knows how to. I think what I love about Richard and Rory is how their relationship kind of ends up transcending. Like, what you feel originally when you watch the show is that Rory is like a replacement daughter to Richard and Emily. But what I really love about Richard and Rory is the way that relationship transcends that, and it becomes a relationship where they love each other for who they are, and they love the support they bring to each other, and they love the fact that they both like love the same things. They like want to be well traveled. They want to be well read. Like, they have these interests which align so well that that makes them so compatible. And it's not just about the fact that they're trying to. This relationship isn't because they lost Lorelai that they're doing this. This relationship is built on a foundation of, oh, she's someone I'm actually going to get along with. And I think that surprised Richard in episode 3 of season 1 at the golf. Because of that, because Richard's kind of seen that side in Rory, he's open to Rory's worldview. He's open to Rory's view of how Rory will entertain him. And that's, I think, really precious. I love this idea that when you can form a relationship with someone, you're able to, I guess, share colliding worldviews and still be able to interact healthily. Because I think this is a drastic compromise. No, this is a drastic contrast to Lorelai and Emily. Lorelai and Emily have fundamentally similar superficial attitudes. Like, they're very good at being defensive and they're very good at seeing each other at face value, but their values are so different, and that's what threatens to drag them apart, because their values mean so much to them. Whereas because Rory and Richard found a common ground first, their values, even though they're kind of different, especially in the early years, because Rory's lives in a modest home as opposed to the mansion in Hartford, they're able to respect each other's worlds.
What a lovely party.
I brought you something to read.
Oh.
It's not the Wall Street Journal, but there's a quiz in there that determines whether you're.
I just have a question.
Well, I appreciate this. Thank you.
What do you guys feel about, like, the conversations to have at this party?
Rory, you remember the
I
time
get it for Rory.
decided
I just don't get it as a
Honorable
person for me.
was a fairy ring?
I think Rory's one of those people who's, because she's very
Think she's about to
small town and she's been surrounded by this world forever, this type of party makes sense to her. It just doesn't to me. I'm a city girl through and through. And I feel like the more I watch this episode, that more that just kind of hits me.
True gift.
What? She did.
I remember a while ago there was a confession that said, why did Emily have the nerve to walk away and go upstairs and do this party? She's always preaching etiquette, and then suddenly, when she doesn't know what's going on, she has to just walk away. They're not wrong, I agree with it. But the risk in doing those type of criticisms is you kind of lose sight of why they act like that. I was told yesterday that compassion to them means that you can see why someone does something, even if you're like very frustrated they do it. And I think that's something that I want to be able to do in this series. It's really important to me that although I want to make it clear what my point of view perspectives are, I want to actually draw analysis beyond the scope which I've tested in the past. And I think in this scene I feel for Emily because she's never been here before, and now she's at an event where she's surrounded by people who have known Rory basically her entire life, who can share stories about Rory's terrible ballet skills, or share stories about Rory just knowing Rory when she was little and like her imagination going wild type thing. And Emily just sits there not having this experience with her, and she has to cop it and just pretend it's okay with her that everyone else knows more about her granddaughter than she does. So I think Emily walking away is not a cry for attention. It might, if you really do believe Emily is 100% premeditated, like everything she does is premeditated and that she's always manipulative, I guess you could believe that, but I don't think that. I think sometimes Emily is ruled by instinct and emotion, and I think this is one of those. I think she wants to experience and I guess learn about her life that Lorelai and Rory lead, even though she has holds such high judgment towards it, and she doesn't like the fact she's fighting for other people, so she wants to find out on her own terms. I think her leaving this party is her trying to get away from this expectation that she's going to be comfortable hearing these stories of other people. It's rooted in something, I guess, that Emily can't explain. I think Emily wants to be able to rationalize this feeling, but I don't think she can. And that's honestly a more Lorelai characteristic. And it's a characteristic that Lorelai probably inherited from Emily, but Emily would never be able to acknowledge that. Let's keep going.
Talented.
Emily cannot help herself. But Laura's instantaneous. And I love that little smile for Emily, like,
Really?
okay, I shouldn't have said that.
From Rory's old baby
Sorry.
clothes.
How nice. Hope you washed them first.
Trisha.
Rats, I knew I forgot something.
It's quite an assortment
out
of characters you've assembled down there.
They're great people.
This Patricia,
Miss Patty,
she teaches dance.
among other things.
Okay,
And this
that
man with the
reaction,
ice,
that's me.
Luke.
Yep,
long
you're
have you
just
seen?
friends with Luke.
Luke?
Lorelai,
I'm not
that's
seeing
clear.
Luke. He's just a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, I swear.
Yeah, we know.
Luke keeps me in coffee. Nothing else.
He seems to like you.
And you're judging this by what?
By the way he looked at you,
Which was how?
like you were about to give him a lap dance.
Mom, you did not look at me like that.
You're pleased.
What?
You smiled. You're pleased that the Iceman looked at you like a porterhouse steak.
I'm smiling because you're crazy, and that's what you do to crazy people to keep them calm.
Ooh.
What's this?
Well, that's me, Mom.
I know it's you. You're wearing a cast.
Yeah, that's when I broke my leg.
You broke your leg.
Yeah, 3 years ago during a yoga class.
Okay.
The headstand portion took a very ugly
I know
turn.
this scene is about how
Good
much
thing
Emily
was that I
doesn't know
brought the
Lorelai,
smoked blonde
but
pretzel chick down
Lorelai
with
took
me.
yoga?
Since learned that I'm a bit too competitive for yoga.
Lorelai
I never
Gilmore
knew you broke your
took
leg.
yoga.
It was no big deal, Mom. If I'd been really sick, you would have known.
Yeah. Well, you know you could get a maid in here once a week to at least tidy the place up.
I like it
Oh my
cluttered.
god.
Can't even find a
Lorelai's
bed.
tone of voice.
Yes, I can. It's
and
the thing I crash
Emily's
into on the way to
reaction.
the closet.
Rough moments.
I should go check on your father.
It was nice that you came tonight, Mom. It meant a lot. To Rory, really.
Well, she is my granddaughter after all. I should be here.
I totally agree.
This is this type of scene that gives me hope. I'm just going to bring this up really, really quickly. Lorelai left the door open for Emily to visit. She left, which I know seems like an ultimate version of rejection of them, but she rejected them on their terms. She didn't reject them. She probably did reject them at first, but I think there's a point where she expected kind of things to shift, and then they just didn't. And then by the time by the time she wanted to borrow money, it just felt so off the cut, so inconceivable. I don't know if you agree with this. I don't even know if I agree with this, but it's just interesting, I guess, hearing the words. I totally agree that you should be here too, because I think that's something I can't imagine Pilot Lorelai saying, but I can imagine Lorelai saying that throughout the series so many times to Emily.
It's time to go now.
In a minute, please.
Rory, we're going to get going now.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for asking me.
Emily?
She's right. I don't know my daughter at all.
I'm not sure if I agree with this statement. I don't know my daughter at all. I know what triggers it. Obviously, that broken leg moment's like, I didn't notice a giant thing happened to you type thing, but I feel like Emily knows Lorelai, but she doesn't accept Lorelai. I think it's easier for her to. When I first watched this scene, it always kind of just broke my heart for Emily, that knowing that Emily felt like this. But in all honesty, I don't think she doesn't not know her. I think what she knows of her, she isn't capable of accepting. And in some ways, that's actually harsher than not knowing someone. Because when you don't know someone, you can just learn about them type thing. But if you know someone, but you don't necessarily accept the life they live, that's gonna create tension endlessly. And I feel like that's the crux for. I don't think it's the fact that Emily doesn't know Lorelai. I think it's the fact that Emily knows that, like, for example, in episode 8, which is Rory's dance, when they're having that fight, and Emily says, I gave you the best of everything. I gave you all the opportunities in the world, and then she got pregnant, all that stuff. That's not Emily not knowing that's not Emily knowing that Lorelai didn't want that world. It's Emily still believing that Lorelai was wrong about not wanting that world and not wanting those opportunities. I think in this scene, it's more her words are tainted with sadness, but that's not necessarily the point. I don't think Emily's quite nailed down what she struggles with Lorelai. I think this is a good moment of self-awareness. I just think that this moment of self-awareness isn't going to change things. It will make Emily more open to accepting Lorelai on a superficial scale, a superficial level, but when it comes to the actual stuff that's torn them apart, Emily doesn't not know it. She knows what Lorelai's done. She just doesn't understand it, and I think she doesn't understand Lorelai. Not that she doesn't know her. I'm going to watch one more scene, and that's just going to be the end of Rory's dance. So I'm just going to watch the bit where Emily and Lorelai and Rory fight, and then I'm going to, I guess, just give me some thoughts. I've got a lot of thoughts on that, so I'm just going to stop. This minute 42:17.
I'm sorry. It was an accident.
You're talking to the queen of staying out all night. I invented the concept. This is no accident. You can't do this, period.
Nothing happened.
Do you have any idea what it's like to wake up with my mother here and find out that you never came home?
So all this is about Grandma being here?
No, it's about the feeling of complete terror when your kid isn't in her bed in the morning.
I'm sorry.
And then it's about a whole...
Okay. Not sure how to talk about this because it's like so much content in this one scene. Rory's right. Lorelai's anger is primarily rooted in the fact that Emily caught her out. That's the first thing. Second thing, Lorelai's reaction is not completely wild as a mother. But Lorelai has always trusted Rory, so I guess it's very hard for Rory to adjust to that. Third thing, Rory is genuinely sorry, but you can kind of see how aware she is that Lorelai's anger is about Emily, and as a result, she doesn't hold herself as accountable as she could. This is one of those scenes where I guess it was such a freak accident that you can't blame Rory, but it does foreshadow future events where Rory makes decisions that she doesn't hold herself accountable, and she presumes that Lorelai's saying things because it's about her it's about Lorelai as a mother, and it's about Emily's intrusion rather than being about Lorelai mothering Rory.
Different kind of terror when you find out that she spent the night with some guy.
I didn't spend the night with him. We fell asleep.
You were going
okay.
on the pill.
I already just covered what I said, but I really need to emphasize how important it is that how apologetic Rory is, because I 100% am not mad at her, and I'm 100% aware of why she's not holding herself accountable in this situation. She's not holding herself accountable in this situation because to her it is just a freak accident. But it is really, really important to recognize that trait as the series goes on. It's important to recognize that it's not a problem here, but it's so important to notice just in general.
What?
You're not getting pregnant.
I'm not sleeping with Dean.
Damn it!
What happened to all that stuff you said to Grandma? What happened to trusting me? Where did all that go?
Well, I think it's back on Patty's yoga mat.
Lorelai is petrified Rory will turn out like her. Because, how do I say this? I think everything Lorelai does for Rory, it's because she wants the best for her. But it's not just that. It's the fact that Lorelai technically lost everything in the process of getting pregnant. And I don't think she feels like that normally. But I think, like, years of having, like, her parents say shit about Christopher and say things like, when you get pregnant, you get married. Or, like, all the things they've said have, like, I guess, being internalized by Lorelai, and it sits, like, simmering on the surface until an event like this triggers such a reaction. Lorelai's unbelievably proud of Rory, but people remind Lorelai how often she's fat, and even though she's in a good place now, as she tells Emily that this is a good life, it's full of colour, so you may not recognise it, but it is a lie. As much as Lorelai believes that, once she leaves, that adrenaline wears off. It's not about defending herself anymore. It's when Emily leaves, it's that the feeling of being sure of herself like dissipates with it. All that's left behind is the all that's left behind is the shots that Emily took. All that's left behind is the really brutal reminders and really brutal ideas that Emily reiterates in Lorelai. I think Lorelai trusts her 100% because Rory has not done anything at this point to justify a reaction like this, in the sense that Lorelai would normally trust that Rory just made a freak accident and fell asleep at the dance studio. But you know how I've kind of I mentioned in one of my essays, Lorelai and Rory's relationship is a direct result of how Emily raised Lorelai. This is how it comes through 110%. If Lorelai was just raising Rory like this because she really believed friendship before mother-daughters, like a mother-daughter relationship, this fight would not have gotten to this extent. But in this moment, all Lorelai really sees is the downside to the relationship she's created with Rory, and that's escalated by things Emily says. Before I keep going, I know I sound like I'm defending Lorelai. I'm not. I am, but I'm not. I'm very mad at her. I don't think this is... I find her words really, really harsh and overwhelming, and I feel like Rory doesn't deserve to hear them. But I understand where they come from, and I do understand the mother fear factor. I just don't think the mother fear factor is the only reason this fight is as bad as it is. Yeah.
This is crap. You know I didn't do anything. You know this was an accident.
You know I didn't.
You're just mad because I screwed up and I did it in front of Grandma and she nailed you for it. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I screwed up and I'm sorry that you got yelled at, but I didn't do anything. And you know it.
Yeah. My heart's broken. My heart always breaks watching this episode. This is one of those episodes you really just want to watch the whole thing of because it really just ties everything together. It ties together the relationship Emily and Lorelai could have had, their similar mannerisms. It ties together their Emily's acceptance of Lorelai's lifestyle choices, like eating burrito cold or having a monkey lamp that she exchanged for gifts. You know, like those type of things are things that explore. It's very funny, and then there are moments where it's, I guess, sweet that like Dean won't let Madeline and Louise make Rory jealous. There's one scene I don't like, and that's the scene with Dean telling Tristan he'll kill him. But I don't really want to get into it. Like, it's important, but it's not something it's not something I want to discuss. But there is so much content in this scene. If I really wanted to, I could probably analyze Emily and Lorelai's scene once again, but I'm not in a place where I want to. I feel like I've covered a lot, and I feel like I'll continue covering it. That I don't think it's necessary. It's important in that it sets it out, reiterates something, because the pilot never really a pilot of a show is never as strong as the rest of a show, because the pilot is when they're just kind of figuring out the bones of everything. Like, they don't even necessarily know where they're going to film. They have to like scout locations because Warner Brothers haven't or networks haven't agreed to really continue the show type thing. So like at a pilot point, everything's kind of up in the air. But in Gilmore Girls, this idea is already really apparent. It's just built on in Rory's birthday, and it's built on in this episode, which is episode 9 of season 1. And in that way, it's important to watch. But for me personally, because I'm going to do this so extensively, I don't feel I should cover that ground again because I know it's going to come up time and time again. Anyway, so this is the end of episode 3 of my reacting to series to Gilmore Girls. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you can check out my blog, I'll leave a whole bunch of links in the description, you can check out everything I've been posting recently, see how we go. Anyway,